Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into what is honestly one of the most massive, historic political upsets we've seen in modern regional politics. We're talking about the 2026 Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly election. This is a fascinating story of how a deeply entrenched system was completely upended, totally rewriting the rules of engagement in a state that is very well known for its fiercely guarded political traditions.
To really grasp the sheer scale of this upset, you have to look at the historical context. Just think about the number 59 for a second. For an absolutely staggering 59 unbroken years, the political landscape of Tamil Nadu was completely dominated by the Dravidian parties, specifically the DMK and the AIADMK. This duopoly was literally the unshakable Goliath of regional politics. Power simply bounced back and forth between these two titans. They weren't just parties, they were institutions, deeply woven into the social and economic fabric of the whole state.
So, what does it actually take to break a six-decade political dynasty? How does a totally brand new, debutante political party just sweep in and shatter a status quo that felt practically invincible? That's exactly the question at the heart of our explainer today. And as you'll see, the answer involves a really fascinating mix of star power, shifting demographics, and a radically different campaign strategy.
All right, let's start with part one, the unshakable establishment. Picture this. Going into the 2026 elections, the incumbent DMK, led by MK Stalin, had swept all 39 state seats in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections just 2 years prior. On paper, they looked incredibly secure. But then an 85.1% voter turnout hit. That is the highest in the state's entire electoral history. And that massive surge signaled a deep systemic fatigue. The people were turning up in absolute droves, clearly hungry for an alternative. Which brings us to part two. The star becomes a politician.
Enter the challenger C, Joseph Vijay. If you know Tamil cinema, you know he is an absolute superstar. But he didn't just walk in blindly. He carefully utilized his massive network of fan clubs as the foundation for a really highly organized political machine. His party, the TVK, officially launched in February 2024. Fast forward a bit to March 2026, and Vijay makes this defining, incredibly bold announcement. He declares TVK will contest 233 constituencies completely alone, no alliances, positioning themselves as a direct rival to both that oscillating Dravidian duopoly and the national ruling party, the BJP. Moving right along to part three, a digital and policy playbook. TVK really pulled off a classic David versus Goliath strategy here. You see, traditional Dravidian campaign methods relied super heavily on massive public rallies, giant banners, and extensive door-to-door canvassing, the old school stuff. TVK basically bypassed those traditional media structures entirely. They executed a highly organized, digital-first social media strategy. We're talking heavy utilization of YouTube, Instagram, and WhatsApp, specifically engineered to reach younger, first-time voters where they actually spend their time.
But a slick digital campaign doesn't mean much without a solid message, right? TVK dropped an incredibly targeted, expansive manifesto aimed squarely at women, youth, and farmers. They promised some major things: 2,500 rupees in monthly aid for women heads of families, collateral-free education loans, 10,000 rupees a month for unemployed graduates getting skill training, and some really massive agricultural reforms, including cooperative farm loan waivers. It wasn't just talk. It was a clear, tangible promise of welfare.
Let's look at part four, a historic hung assembly. When the results came in, they completely shattered expectations. Get this, incumbent Chief Minister MK Stalin actually lost his own constituency of Kalathur. That is a massive deal. TVK secured an incredible 108 seats in their very first election. They completely swept the capital city of Chennai, taking 20 of its 22 constituencies, and just made these massive inroads into traditional strongholds across the entire state, largely by pulling in youth, women, and urban voters. But here's where the math gets, well, a bit messy. Let's look at the numbers. TVK was the single largest party with 108 seats. The DMK fell to 59, and the AIADMK dropped to 47. However, to get an absolute majority in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, you need 118 seats, so TVK was 10 seats short. This created Tamil Nadu's first ever hung assembly. Literally nobody had outright control. So, that begs the question. How exactly do you govern without a majority? TVK obviously had the momentum, they had the most seats, but they didn't actually have the constitutional mandate to automatically form a government, and this set the stage for a period of incredibly tense political drama and intense behind-the-scenes negotiations right after the election. That takes us right into Part 5, Navigating the Coalition Chessboard.
So on May 6, Vijay meets with the governor to stake his claim to form the government. But the governor hesitates. He needed solid proof of support from at least 118 MLAs, which, as we know, Vijay didn't have yet. To manage this crisis, Vijay plays some masterful political chess. He quickly forges alliances, successfully inviting the Indian National Congress to actually join the TVK government, and securing crucial outside support from a few other parties, including the VCK and the left parties. Bringing those groups together bumped TVK's backing up to a very comfortable 120 MLAs.
And finally, Part 6, the swearing-in and floor test.
Those first 2 weeks of May 2026, just incredibly dense and chaotic. Look at this timeline. After the results dropped on May 4th and that tense governor meeting on the 6th, the coalition was rapidly pieced together. Having officially proven his numbers, Vijay stepped onto the ultimate stage on May 10th to take the oath of office as the 9th Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. But it wasn't quite over. On May 13th, the new government had to face the ultimate constitutional hurdle, the floor test in the assembly.
When it came down to it on May 13th, the floor test wasn't even close. Vijay's TVK government passed the trust vote super comfortably. We're talking a margin of 144 ayes against only 22 noes. The coalition held totally strong, and the new TVK government was firmly cemented into power.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this defining quote from political analysts looking at this historic shift. They noted, Vijay's appeal was more to a promise of change rather than a meticulous ideology. By leveraging a brilliant digital-first campaign, capitalizing heavily on widespread anti-incumbency, and simply promising a fresh start, TVK completely rewrote the rulebook. So what do you think this means for the future of traditional, entrenched political machines in our rapidly digitizing world? It is definitely something we'll be watching very, very closely. Thanks so much for learning with us today.